Yeah, I cannot more untruths. Not even half ones in this at this time. Not even half truths. Which is why writing this email is going to be difficult. But we're gonna do it. I didn't even want to go to this school. I did not come out here to go to this school. No part of going to the school was in my original plan. And then I just fell in love with it. I know, isn't that absurd? And then I learned to hate it. It is a deeply ambivalent thing. Much like life. No, I just want to show it. Okay, let's type my password. I knew I was leaving, didn't I? That's why that's my password. Wow. You know when you look back and you're like, wow, I really did know. I'm just being dramatic. Well, I am leaving. I'm leaving before I finish, yeah. I don't even really know what happened.
To get through in 1 hour. Good fucking luck. Great. This compression episode is gonna be so intense. Okay. It's fine.
Yeah, I fucked that up super big time. Okay.
Super big time.
What did you say again? Thanks for checking in. I see.
What does she see? This one is called 19. Belly up. Belly up. Okay. So now I have to look at the thumb template, which I definitely accidentally pasted that on. I know. Back to background. Okay, well at least we can skip a lot of the email typing.
It does not have that many numbers, and so I do not care. But
what's she saying? What's she saying?
Stormy sky over an ocean. There's a prize there. What's this one? I can't be expected to remember what all the boxes look like. Oh, this girl. Oh my god. I can't believe you would do that.
Oh my god.
You goddamn right, I said a €4.29 payment. No, it was €4.29. Yeah, it was good.
I can't believe you
It was really
do
fast,
that.
guy. Hulu price change. What? Can you open this somehow? I know. Oh god, so I know. It's just been languishing in this inbox because I'm like, I don't have a Hulu account. Hulu does not have my money numbers, and so I do not care. But I also want to follow up and like, why do I have a Hulu account under this email and close that shit and whatever. Like, oh my god, it just gets on top of you, doesn't it? Every last little thing gets on top of you. It just will. That is how being dying works. And you were born, then you are going to be dying, and so like there is a being dying portion of the whole situation that I feel like people really overlook.
Wow, she sounds so fucking.
This email from July 31st on my mom's birthday, I think. No, that's Harry Potter's birthday. I can never remember whose birthday that is. But oh my god, what cool
mom and Harry
email
Potter
that
share
my niche
birthday.
was accepted on Red Gifts. Thank you.
Contributes to my confusion and my hero
Actually, my niche was approved, and I was like, oh thanks, but you didn't understand what it's supposed to be. The toy is not the POV, it is the recording device, which is the POV. Thank you so much. And I did please treat the niche name.
What is this? Credentialing, citizenry, rise up, talking with demons, transgender, special episode.
And that's where we left it. I was like, this is not that important. I don't intend to spend too significant of a time uploading things to Red Gifts, but I appreciate that I have my own niche now. It's very exciting. How is Red Gifts doing? Can we log in? Is it .com? .org? Oh, it's .com. Okay. Yeah, I've never really been here except to like create an account and post my stuff. Of course I'm human.
Of course I'm human.
Oh god, check the box for my code. Fine. Oh no, oh I do not want sounding. Sounding is for me? Wow, okay, that's new.
Sounding is for me.
We gotta move over here. 2,000 views? Oh my god, that's too many. I feel vulnerable.
I feel vulnerable.
69, that's great, let's see that. Got it. I like the Regan one. 47, just for me? Ugh, the magic numbers of it all. I know. I am giving away all of my secrets. Watch free live cams now.
Do I want to watch free live cams now?
Those are my socials. Oh my god. How is the Soundcasting going? Oh, like literally nothing. Okay. No, that's actually kind of a lot for people listening to me. Like, that's really intimate, you know? Yeah, 36 is kind of a lot of people. It's just a lot. I'm not... like, this is being done for academic purposes, I swear. Definitely not self-interested at all. Oh, I have a follower? That's so cute. Thank you. Ugh, he's such a supporter. I know. He's like my biggest fan. Blah. Uh-huh.
Blah you.
Blah. Oh my
Blah.
god, wow. Yeah. That's so interesting.
No, this is a demon.
That must be how it feels. Oh my god. Yeah. Just for like a normal person, right? Yeah. Aw, I love that. That's sweet. It literally is sweet. Yeah, it's weird to be somebody who wants to talk about porn addiction without like having ever experienced it or even really experiencing porn at all, except for from the side of like a producer who's literally producing it to make a point about healthcare and sex work and a lot of other things I want to make a point about. Like, I'm not here in a way, I don't know, I want to be like, I'm not here authentically, but I am here authentically. Like, I'm here being authentic, but I'm not coming here from like a need to make money or a desire to do the work. So neither of those things are here. I mean, like, doing the work is fun.
That's about sex
like,
work, not about podcasting. Definitely here to make money as an artist.
How that tends to work,
Please
you know?
support me
Jot that one down.
on Patreon
We know
or
this, but we're still like living
Coffee
here
or
in
any
culture
of
and
the
culture
payment
silence
links
and fear
I
and
provide
deep uncertainty for a bunch of people who apparently know some stuff, you know, and I think that part of that is just...
It is okay to just pay me cash money for the services that I provide.
Not until recently. Not until so recently. The last 2 decades even. That's why I keep talking about time periods. I'm like, you know, America's concept has only really been around 200, 250 years. And, I don't know, when you're a kid, your concept of money changes from $1 to $5 to $20 to $100. And depending on how much latitude you have between social classes or economic classes or socioeconomic statuses even. But depending on how much movement and free movement you have between those statuses, your concept of money continues to grow from 20s to hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. And the quote-unquote normal progression of economic pathways is to consider buying a house that is $500,000. And that's insane. And that's just like an average that I'm pulling from a vague understanding of the current market. Other people could get more specific on the housing situation, and they will at length, and I don't care. I'm just like, yeah, I didn't want to go that deep. The whole concept is absurd. We're already too far down the rabbit hole for my comfort zone, and that is unfortunately what like participating in the world mostly requires, is being too far down the rabbit hole of empire for anybody's comfort zone, and then still having to function within it in order to survive. That is everybody's experience for the most part. That is most people's living experience. And it's an experience I feel like I have been privileged enough to exit from and re-enter intentionally multiple times in my life due to my privilege. Yes, privilege, I have it. I totally do. Absolutely, 100%. I've seen it at work in my day-to-day life all the time, in the same way that people see racism at work in their day-to-day life all the fucking time. It is a constant living experience of reality, and it blows. It fucking sucks. And the only way I've ever navigated it is trying to, like, stay next to people. Like, when you say allyship, when you say, like, standing with people, I take it really literally. I'm like, how do we stay next to people? How do we make sure that we are walking with them, that they are getting what they need, and getting access to resources that they need, or getting, you know, the self-confidence boost that they need, or getting to just, like, talk to somebody about something. And no, I mean, I wasn't directly talking about last night, but I recognize I'm going pretty fast for all
What the fuck happened last night? I'm invested.
It's be fun. I wonder if we'll do it again. No, okay, so yeah, to sum this up, this like crying hour of hard emails and email inbox explorations, I am definitely, like, the argument that I'm making with the porn side of my internet presence, which definitely continues to exist and remain very obvious and transparent and not a secret whatsoever, is that, like, I'm a living human being, and the platforms I'm interacting with have a certain, like, rigid logic rule, and that needs to be accounted for in our legislature, and it's not. And in an embodied way, you know, physically, my life is on the line, it's online and embodied, and my body is online sort of way. You know, I want to open this conversation about those kinds of things, and I want to make a clear demonstration of what my understanding of safe, sane, and consensual pornographic content looks like. And the first part of that is just no coercion, right? Like, I'm not under financial duress. I'm not under any sense of duress to my best ability and the ability of every single last person who supported me doing this, which is a lot of people. You know, to the best of everybody's ability, I'm not being coerced. And I'm joyously partaking in both masturbating and recording it and putting it online and choosing where
I'm not really doing that anymore, though, because I do need money, so I would be coerced, so it just wouldn't work anymore.
And so when that's really the case, it's not going to be messy. Or it's not going to be consistent, it's going to be messy. Sorry, of course it's going to be messy. One time never mind, I'm not going to talk about it on my computer. That was so bad, though. Like, the monitor went black, and I was like, oh fuck, I ruined it. And I really just got it really quickly with some forced air and got the insides of the monitor dried out as quickly as possible, and it was okay, but for a second there, it was touch and go. And I was like, no, I just bought you. I'm going to hate myself forever. God, I gave myself so much drama over every last purchase relating to this entire project, because I was like, are you even really going to do it? You have a lot of fucking game for somebody who never does shit. You know, like, just pissed at myself. Are you going to actually do this shit, or are you just going to talk the talk? The amount of shit talking I participated in was too high. Like, at myself. It was too high, and I'm still recovering. I pushed myself way too hard to do this, and everyone I know knows it. Everyone I know is worried about me, and I'm like, it's okay. It's getting so much better now that I'm actually just doing the thing. The thing that I was, like, hoping and trying and praying that I would do and lying to myself about, and everybody else about what thing I was specifically doing, even though I'm, like, really obvious and not that fucking slick, you know? Like, and I know I'm not that slick. I just admire people who are, so, you know, I like to play the game, but I'm not good at it. I am such a literal person. It's so easy to track what I'll do next because it's very literal. I'm going to go eat french fries for sure. I'm almost certain. I'm like very almost certain that there are french fries in my future.
There are french fries in my future.
But,
there are always french fries
yeah,
in my future.
I mean, and there are a lot of other influences too. You know, there's generational trauma. Of course there is. There is all sorts of other things that I can point to saying, like, I know exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. I think most people generally kind of feel that way about themselves and what they're up to, and they just angrily resent the rest of the world for not believing in them. I don't know. I'm probably projecting. I do angrily resent the rest of the world for not believing in me. That's kind of how I get through life. I'm like, if you just believe in me more, this would be faster. But not like at people, and not with meanness or unkindness. It's literally just like, if we all trust each other more, we get more out of one another. And the fact that we don't is like a wound. It's something we need to heal, not something to just like accept and treat like an irrevocable aspect of human nature. People are way too quick to make some hard conclusions about human nature for transient mortal beings. You know what I mean? I'm like, whoa, that's a pretty bold claim from somebody who's been on the planet for 10 years, you know, 14 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. Pretty fucking bold claims going on, you know? It's just, it's so much bigger. It's all so much bigger.
It is.
And it's insane and sad and heartbreaking that so many people make lifelong determinations about how to view the world based on small things.
True.
And it reminds me of the way that we talk about suicide, in the sense that one momentary decision changes.
13 minutes in. Okay, we're doing good. 5 hours.
The way that we view the world can
5
change.
hours of
And it will change
podcasts.
your entire experience of the world.
I could be a little more proactive, huh? Any more talking? You do any more chit-chat-aronies? Okay. Follower Friday.
I don't have any more time with my thoughts, so why are we posting those things like they are good to go? Are they? Can they not just be good to go? Can I not just release a morning podcast that just shares my in-the-moment hot take thoughts? Can thoughts not share thoughts after all? Who are we really?
Not share thoughts after
What is
all?
this operation?
Ooh, even I would.
Yeah, we do not have any fresh backgrounds. This cog in this machine has been
My pronouns are a cog in the machine.
breaking down lately.
It's actually kind of true, unfortunately.
I'm just gonna have to become paper thin. So you can see right through me.
You can see right through me now. That part's true.
Transparency is key. If you're gonna rule the world. Yeah, I just did an upside down heart with my hands. I just signed at somebody today to make it easier to like know my name. And she was like, oh, you signed? I was like, oh, fuck. I do this myself all the time because signing is just like a quick way to reinforce, you know, graphic image. It's just like such an easy way to communicate if you need to reinforce something quickly in a way that like will help somebody remember. And I love helping people remember my name. Like, yeah, Cozy, C-O-Z-Y, one journey. And I like try to remember their name. I just think it's good. It's a good practice to try to, you know,
Social me and anti-social me are like two completely
I don't remember her
different
name.
people.
I'm overwhelmed with names lately. It's
It's like I love it when people remember me. I'm like, can't relate. Can't relate. Please forget me immediately.
Yeah. And look, good as being aware that I think it's super pretty. It's like the one fun thing. And then the types of kink that got on the main screen and into the public consciousness had to be 50 Shades. Come on, why? I know I've heard advocates say like, hey, at least take out on the map and we can have more conversations from there. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. But this needed to happen yesterday, right? Like we all agree. And they're like, yeah, for sure. Fuck. Where we are at as a nation, as a geographic area filled with real human being people. When it comes to sex ed, it sucks. But it's like also getting rapidly better at a crazy, wild, awesome rate. Destigmatization is so key. It can't be said enough. I'm just like forever in awe of every last destigmatization campaign that I have ever encountered. I can list them, yeah, of course. You're not gonna like what I say though. It'll trigger all sorts of attitude networks you don't want triggered right now, so don't test me. Oh, no, that's just like me imagining. I'm just an imagination girl. You don't understand. I just like make things up in my head, play them out, and then act things out. All I do is R&D. Yeah, well, and every human does. Like, the psychology, the way I learned it, is that humans are curious, social creatures. And good for us. So are wolves, and vultures, and raccoons, and all sorts of other animals. Yeah, no, I started on Scavengers hard lately. It's almost Halloween, so I'm allowed to harp on Scavengers, actually, as like a certified goth girl, TM, if you were wondering. Now, I did actually, at one point, attempt to try to copyright, something, and it did not go well, and it was so funny, and I still can't talk about it. It costs money to try to copyright something, and I have spent money on such dumb things, you know? Hell yeah, the Sexploratorium opens Museum of Sex in Denver? What? That's amazing!
I love that place.
It's just gorgeous. It's like we know what the limits are. We don't sell sex toys, we don't have live sex, we are an educational space only, we can have our big picture windows. Like, we are here to teach and educate. It's called the Sexploratorium. Come on. Come on! There are only a handful of sex-based museums in the world, and now Denver has one of them, courtesy of the Sexploratorium at 1800 South Broadway. But even in that rarefied group, this museum occupies a unique position. They're more sensationalistic, says founder Fawn O'Breetzman of the others. Here's some dirty pictures, which is great. I'm all about dirty pictures. But what we're doing here is more purposefully educational. Oh my god, wait, okay, sorry, I was reading without, like, comprehending. Oh, she's talking about the other ones. Even within this really small group in the sex-based museums in the world, The other ones are more sensationalistic. This one is more educational. It's intentionally, purposefully educational. That's amazing. The academic take makes sense given the Sexploratorium's roots. It opened in the summer of 2023, the brainchild of two Red Rocks Community College professors, a Breedsman who taught human sexuality and Stina French, who taught courses on erotic literature. In the past year, French has moved to other projects, but a Breedsman had kept the sex-positive space going and expanding. One of those expansion projects in the Museum of Sex, which debuted one of those expansion projects is the Museum of Sex, which debuted last month. When the Sexploratorium first opened, the facility boasted not only some retail space in the lounge, but also a classroom area where frank and shame-free experiential lectures could take place. Oh, hell yeah, I have seen this. Those continue, but the large open room now also serves as the museum floor, where exhibits laying the walls discuss everything from sex work, which a Breedsman says the Sexploratorium wants to work on legalizing in the state, to historic depictions of sex and erotica. One of the Breedsman's favorite display items is a small bronze statue of a cherubic boy with an exaggerately huge double penis. We bought that from a little man. He was maybe 80, just outside the ruins of Pompeii, Italy. He ran up to us and showed us this little guy, and he yelled, "This is for good luck! Good luck and good fuck!" And they just started laughing hysterically, so we had to buy it. Another striking display is a colorful line of 3D models of differently detailed genitalia. Oh, I saw these too. We just had this young trans man come in, a Breedsman recalls, who was just so excited to see what the penis might look like. You see pictures, but you don't really get the full sense of it. It's good for people to be able to see the natural variation in human beings. I've seen groups of people in here having discussions about this display and then talking openly about their own genitalia. That's amazing. Providing a space for those conversations is exactly what this museum is all about. That space needs to exist. I have been making the case consistently throughout this cast about the interconnected relationship between sex and violence and sexual violence and empire, and oh my god, I said empire now with the Star Wars people around me. Yeah, I know, I flexed too hard earlier and this is where we're at. I've seen groups of people in here having discussions about this display and then talking openly about their own genitalia. Oh my god, okay, so that's 100% what I'm here to talk about. Really, oh my god. I have been given that kind of safe space to talk openly about my genitalia and what was going on, and it was during a really sensitive time in my life relating to women's healthcare and hormones, and every time it arises from a sector I'm not expecting, I'm always like, ooh, am I talking about this, am I not talking about this, because it was that touchy of a healthcare experience, and a lot of healthcare experiences are touchy like that, right, especially in America where our healthcare is rough, to say the least, but we're not going there. So I had this really intense experience with women's healthcare, and it changed a lot about me in fundamental ways and about my perspectives, and it honed my values and my opinions and my ethics on all sorts of things relating to the medical field in Western medicine, specifically in the compartmentalization and for-profitization of the medical industry in America. But we're also not going to any of those places. Sorry. I'm not sorry, but oh my god, being provided the space to talk openly about your genitals with non-judgmental, curious, willing to also have a group discussion type of people, that sort of productivity is amazing. It just advances your ability to interact with the world. It did. I joined this group. It was an online support group for lichen sclerosis, and it was mainly people who were suffering some pretty serious things going on with their yoni, their vulva, their labia majora, and their labia minora, and scarring and closing and needing dilating and all of this stuff that just struck me as quite horrific to have to experience with yourself. And it was similar, but it was not the same as what I was experiencing. And so the ways in which it was similar and the ways in which it was different were made really apparent to me during that group session. And those women just kind of talked me through it. They heard me, I heard them. We all just listened to each other for a solid. It was almost 6 hours. I guess they do it once a month. It was amazing. They all just get together, and it was great. And I was just okay, this is support groups. This is why we need support groups. And I felt the release of just being in a safe space to discuss what was going on with me in an environment where I could just be listened to. And they did just listen to me. And I was wow, okay, cool. This is what that looks like. And so to see this in Westward, in Denver, that this Sexploratorium is there and going on and just providing these conversational, safe spaces to understand our human bodies without shame and judgment and cruelty, how could you hate that? As the museum expands, so the depth of those web pages connected to each exhibit. Oh, nice, they have their web presence. In the interest of establishing itself as an educational resource, the museum has been putting out feelers in academia. Already several local institutions from the University of Denver to Red Rocks Community College have made connections and have students visit and experience what the facility has to offer. Oh, fuck yeah, Westward! Oh, I love you, Westward! Westward reporting! Oh, Westward! Okay, copy. Yes, getting it in on the ground. That's what Westward does in Denver. Westward has been holding that shit down forever. I'm just Glasgow's Outpost, you kind of remind me of Westford Beach, so we're cool. That's how I felt about the media here in the community. I was oh, I had this really awesome opportunity to meet a lot of people who work in local media, and it really came about because of the protest. I still owe a guy $40, but it was just such an interesting experience, and stop, I'm trying to be serious. I am.
Who am I talking to? Stop, I'm trying to be serious? Is that to me? When did I record?
What was I saying? Media, cool people, SIGAS, Exploratorium in Denver. Oh, yeah, no, I happen to know some background information, some on-the-ground intel about this Exploratorium. Let me tell you what, it's super cool. I got to see it in April when I visited a friend, not saying who. I know, I miss you too. I know, I love you too. No, you're doing such great things. No, yes, it's so good. It really is. It is. I know, it's so scary. It's so hard, but it's so cool. It's so cool. You're so rad. You are, no,
I
you're
can see
rad.
why that's so
Stop,
cool.
you're rad. No, oh my god, okay. Yeah, it's
Just
friendship time.
talking
I'm just
to
responding to the people
people,
who
like,
live in my head rent free, and you
They
get to listen to me. So
live free, you know, and everybody has that.
Oh
but
my
nobody
God,
talks
yeah.
like it, so I can see why this is kind of alarming to people.
This is amazing though. I need to copy this and I need to post it.
Yeah, post.
That's good. Follower Friday, bitches. Oh, fuck. Oh, that's good. I mean, he's not wrong. They, oh my god, I'm so sorry. We haven't hung out since, and I want to, but I don't know how to ask because I'm like nervous about where you are, and I know you're probably feeling the same way, so we're both just like, oh, I don't know where you're at, well, I don't know where you're at, well, I don't know where you're at. But, yeah. I didn't realize how much I was watching you here. I did too. I knew what I was doing. I'm a fucking liar. Don't listen to me, I lie. I will lie to you. But the numerological tension of thresholds, oh my god. What the fuck is that shit? It's really getting sci-fi. And they hearted my comment and said, and it's misogyny. I'm gonna tell you why. Right? So there's a shady pipeline. But there's like a core something going on, a kernel of truth, you could say, much like corn.
I fucking love you
I
guys.
fucking love corn. Corn's so good.
Keep me going. You're so smart. You're so creative. You're so thoughtful.
No.
You think deep.
The family. Oh my
You're
god.
doing your best.
What she has come across in her research. And transparent about my process and also my humanity. And yeah, another thing that I am basing this off of is I don't want to say a big titty god girl, but
such a good fair. I fucking love festivals. I didn't move here for festivals, but the fact that there's festivals everywhere is really convenient to my heart.
Talk about sex work a little bit more because I built it into everything, and I'm really excited about it. It was just such a clear and obvious premise to be like, well, sex workers obviously know a lot about interpersonal intimacy and, putting their bodies on the line in much the same way that frontline workers, paramedics, cops, are also putting their bodies on the line. I want to make it clear, despite how undeserving so many cops are of our respect for the way that they choose to approach their work, they are in a, what's the word? Like, their role does involve being on the front lines in some way. They are really well protected. They have some of the best, armor, both legally and physically, but it doesn't mean that they're on the front lines, which means cognitively speaking, they are a frontline worker. So I just want to go and clarify that distinction. But yeah, the sex work stuff is really interesting. I was prompted recently to update my link trees so that everything actually reflects each other. For a while, the link trees were super fun to build. I had 2 trees, and this entire online presence is based on having like a main and an alt, and that dichotomy is all about privacy, like public and private. It's just mirroring what we already do socially in real life, and it's the social etiquette of the current day is to always have like a main, a alt, and maybe even a third one for porn or something like that. Maybe you have 5 different accounts for the same platform and they all serve different purposes. You're allowed to. That's kind of one of the funnest things about playing online. It's like a video game with avatars, and you are just deciding to what extent you're playing and what kind of, are you playing a quest-based sort of game, or are you kind of doing more open world exploration? That's kind of the layout, and part of that has just been the financial fuel of gamers in general, right? Like games and gaming is a huge part of why the internet is so famous. So it can't be ignored when we talk about the construction of the social biosphere online. But yeah, I recently updated the link trees. The link trees reflect the main and the alt. There's the alt, which does porn, oh no, and memes, porn and memes. And then the main, which does community participation in like eating out mostly, but traveling too. I keep thinking about using you should worship the great lesbian in the sky. And I'm like, what if I just want to be the great lesbian in the sky? Like, is that allowed? Can like people worship me if they want? The voices in my head started on me on that one. But yeah, I updated everything, and in doing so made the explicit content that I have produced more accessible, hopefully. I realized this weekend that it's not accessible at all. I thought it was all just very out there, but that was just the level of vulnerability that I was feeling about it, which has been a constant.
It's definitely still out there. I just kind of.
I started the sex work thing intentionally so that I could talk with more authority and more like living experience in sex work. Like, and I knew at the time that I was and am dipping a toe in the field, as it were. And so I just got literally, the whole enterprise started out with making an OnlyFans for feet, and then getting a taste of the OnlyFans infrastructure. I was quickly like, ooh, this is disgusting. This is like McDonald's for people. And all I could think of was this hentai manga I'd read that was called like Ronald McDonald. Something like that. It obviously couldn't have been exactly that. McDonald's. It was called McDonald's. And it was just like about going to fast food and ordering women to fuck and then leaving. Like it was just instead of burgers, it was women. And I'm like, I have a thing for objectification and all sorts of like my blushing. So that works for me in a hentai manga format, but it really doesn't work for me in like a real people format. You know, I saw OnlyFans and I was like, oh, this is gross. Hate this. Not a fan. And like the thing is, there are ways. It's very much like Instagram in the sense that creators can make it their own, and they can do such a good job that you can get lost in their immersive world of themness. So in that sense, it was useful to me from a creative standpoint. Like I got the comparison to Instagram and how easy it is for people to go from the Instagram like social scape to the OnlyFans social scape. There's a very easy jump because the structure is relatively the same, and the like modes of engagement are sort of the same. The economy is a little bit the same, so like it's not a wildly different world. And to me, that's kind of how I think of it. You're like planet jumping between different planets. And they all have slightly different etiquette and slightly different structure and format and rules, but for the most part, it's not wildly different. And that's, again, part of the fun video game aspect of the internet. You are exploring an open world map, and what's extra cool about it is that technically you can mod the map yourself. And you can build your own planets, and you can do your own stuff, and you can do it for free. It just takes, like, elbow grease and labor. And it's less labor than what, like, physical labor in a sense of physicality, but it's a lot of cognitive load, and it's a lot of repetition, and it's a lot of meticulousness. So doing the grind of, like, building your own spaces online does take work and skill and knowledge and effort. For me, I have a lot of shortcuts, like, mental shortcuts, just because I understand the infrastructure, like, physically how the internet is built, and what it really is running on energy-wise, kind of like how calories in the body are your energy. You know, that system-based thinking that I have built and nurtured over my lifetime really serves me well in building internet personas, profiles, and spaces really rapidly. And so that's just something that I have a skill set in. And it makes it pretty easy to like build link trees overnight and repopulate them with my porn, which is what I did. And this is I guess, yeah, just like an awkward introduction to the fact that I have done this sort of thing. Although I feel like I have been very vocal about it the entire time. I've been telling people, I've been very uncomfortably transparent about the process. You know, I went into it a little bit before I was really ready, at least partially because I felt that was fair. Like, that was kind of an equalizing factor for the fact that I was opting in, and that I was not, you know, attempting, like, genuinely relying on it as an income. So it felt fair to me to, I don't know, push myself off the deep end into the... It's not like, I mean, it was a pretty safe environment, and I felt very comfortable the whole time, and it actually reminded me of just early days of the internet, which to me, you know, in my developmental life, just meant it was normal. So it felt normal, and it was kind of cool in that sense. But yeah, I don't know. I've been restructuring my digital presence lesson this morning and just thinking back to when all of this started and what I have up to gain and what I did get and where we're going with it. A huge part of the like discussion I'm trying to hold, the space I'm trying to create for the discussion, and some destigmatization work, you know, whatever. A huge part of what I'm trying to do here is give a living example of what consent looks like when it's not coerced. And coerced consent is one of the biggest struggles in sex work. It's like no ethical anything under capitalism. Well, then how do you have ethical sex work under capitalism? You don't. Right now you don't even have legal sex work, so you don't have protections. It's like one of our most vulnerable populations is sex workers, and it's transgenders and ages, and you know, I shouldn't have to explain all of this, but I will.
But I will.
I know some people tell me that sometimes it's just nice to hear it from me, so I'm trying. But it's a lot, you know, this is all this stuff. I will preface that I would not have jumped into sex work if I didn't think it was hot. If I wasn't like, that's something I could get off to, then I'm going to do it. If that wasn't the case, I would have done it. That would have been, like, even less ethical. I don't know. I did a lot of ethics questioning. I was trying to complete a master's degree, so I did a lot of research classes, and just thinking about how this is really like a living social experiment, but it's not, that I'm not like using, you know, it's on me. Is that okay? Thinking about being a human animal, participating in my own care, but I'm the caregiver, but, you know, like all of this stuff. I use BDSM a lot. I use top bottom, like thinking a lot, all these dichotomies, right? And just constantly flipping back and forth between these extremes, these mental states, attempting to care for myself, like provide wraparound services, and really just having myself do it, and all from this perspective of like mental health and wellness, and then what does it really look like to consent without coercion, right? And so if I took this idea of like, I think it's hot, and I was like, if I think it's hot, then I can, in theory, I can like have sex in a public way, or like, you know, public masturbation essentially, but like encourage others to participate in me having sex with myself from a distance feels the most accurate. And if I think that's hot and I'm gonna just do that, then, you know, where's the consent? Because if you just jump on to any creator site and you start attempting to make explicit content as a creator, if it's video, there's like the most risk, and then sound is really popping off lately, and I feel like there's a lot more consent work built into the base of like the audiophile niches that I've seen. And one thing that I noticed and learned right away was just that I'm not at all an expert or connoisseur in the porn industry anymore whatsoever, and that things have changed. Like things have gotten a lot better when it comes to the idea of coercions. In some ways, things have gotten a lot more within the creator's control. And OnlyFans and whatever the feed one is, I can't remember what it's called. Those two are just like the ones that got famous. You know, there's all sorts of other things. Chaturbate was interesting. I recently found Red Gifts. I actually like them just because of like they are offering that one thing, and that's the thing that they are doing. They streamlined it like anyway. My free cams was kind of the most accessible to me for a variety of reasons, and the framework, like the structure of the site was familiar to me and it felt comfortable. And so I was like, yeah, I will do this site. This is nice. And it was genuinely really, like, it was really good for me. Prior to diving into this, I had been attempting. No, I don't like that video. No, this is a big story. It has to be told in a way that makes sense and can be heard. But yeah, I don't know, this question of coercion, consent, and ethical sex work under our current economic, socio-political conditions, I mean, that's a huge beast to try to unpack, and I don't want to be the one to unpack all of it. I feel like there are more voices who can speak with more knowledge and accuracy and whatever. I'm just trying to make room for that conversation because I'm not seeing it in the moment, you know? And I think that everybody who's pissed off about Roe v. Wade, everyone who's pissed off about trans rights, everybody who's pissed off about Black and Indigenous genocide, you know, like we could go on. But everyone who has like righteous fury right now over the state of affairs could very easily rally behind sex workers if the stigma wasn't so bad. So I'm like, let us destigmatize sex work rapidly. Let's have some radical acceptance up in this building, and let's get behind sex work together as a family, and really make it ethical. And in doing so, change so many other structures. I think that would work. That's my pitch. And so to make that pitch, I was like, well, I need to become a sex worker, kind of, and really. Like I said, I just kind of dipped my toe in it, and I was trying to make the case for slow porn. I was trying to say, like, my biggest critique of the porn industry, of sex work in general, but, like, digital porn specifically, which was, you know, where I was specializing, not specializing in physical, although I did very briefly attempt to sign up for Tryst, the cool new escort website, which maybe I shouldn't, like, out in such a public way, but I really like their verbiage. I love the way their site is set up. I love the inclusivity and the care clearly given to the escorts and, I was going to say, content creators. But yeah, it's a whole different world. I never fully went into it. I did kind of try, but I didn't try super hard. Like, my heart wasn't fully in it, and I think that it was clear in the way that I was applying that my heart wasn't fully in it, and I was respectfully rejected from the group. But if you're into that, if you're interested, check them out. And yeah, so dipping my toes. Oh yeah, making the case for slow porn. So I'm like, I'm consenting because I think it's hot, but it's also like really new to me, and this is a world that I had never wanted to get fully immersed in for a variety of reasons I feel are totally sane and reasonable. But like up till now, my previous chosen form of getting off was either, you know, love making with lovers or erotica, sometimes hentai manga, but mostly erotica. And I could not watch real people have sex because there was so much implicit coercion in the early days, and like still now, you know, we live in a rape culture, so like how consensual is it? I can't, and I don't think that's insane of me, so I just, you know, do my thing. But more recently, in the last like 5 years, I have really just been focusing on like closing my eyes, feeling my way through my day, feeling all the ups and the downs, and just the way that I am in my body. I'm doing this super, you know, mind-body connection thing that's cool, and I just like feel the tension pooling in my pelvic muscles, and there is, you know, the tightening and then the release, and it's just so universally understood what an orgasm feels like. And I just do that every day. I can do it in 5 minutes, I can do it in 45 minutes. I have a lot of control over the length of time, and what kind of avenues my mind goes down. It's all very cerebral, and I'm having a great time, and so I'm very satisfied. Content. But, you know, curious, I have noticed that everybody's getting pretty liberated and sick with their own freak lately, which is really making me happy, just to see, and I'm just kind of basking, and everyone else is slow. I'm getting the limelight experience over here, and I'm just stoked. And so, yeah, that's mainly what my sex work has consisted of, is doing this in my body, in the moment, sharing. I'll record it, or I'll get online and chat, and it's just like, when I feel it, I do it. It has to be that biological, because that's what you're emulating, is the physical, you know, release that you share with a lover. So, I mean, in theory, or the physical release you're sharing with yourself, so, sorry, not to give my physical release. When you're sharing it with the world, or like with the minds that exist on the other end of the screen, because at the end of the day, it's all about the minds. I was telling somebody the other day that like, we aren't addicted to our screens, we're addicted to each other. The fact that we can access one another all the time like this, and like with so much intimacy and intentional, like curated capability of like accessing other minds, we are fucking addicted to that. We're like give me your brain. We're all just zombies, but like in ways we never expected we would be zombies. And it's hard to take, you know, it's overwhelming, but I love it, and I've been a self-described zombie for a long time, so I don't mind. This kind of goes back into cyborgism, and how if you spend more than half of your cognitive energy in a digital environment, you definitely count as a cyborg, because your cognitive space is your nervous system. Like, it's your central nervous system. It is a system. It's a part of your biology. It is you. It's physical. It's real. It's truly happening. But it's happening on, you know, an energetic level, the action potential of a neuron, which I think is negative 70, and then I don't remember the, I think 71, 75. I'm sorry, my neuroscience teacher. I'm bad at remembering the exact numbers. But, you know, like, it's a physical, real thing that exists, and so to treat it like it's just some magical, questionable experience is just a really, I'm going to say, a really successful propaganda campaign. But that's my answer for everything, and at some point I start to send very tinfoil hat. So, you know, you have to decide when to take me seriously. But yeah, I don't know. I spent last night and this morning kind of trying to make my slow porn more accessible, and it is very slow because it is so related to my moods. So like, how frequently do you expect that I want to share that much of myself with the entire rest of the world? It's like every other month or something, probably less. And I get squirrely with it. I have been up until now that I'm like debuting this as a concept, and pitching the whole like let's rally behind sex work thing. I kind of have to be more consistent. But in the R&D phase of everything, I was letting myself like have tantrums and moods and just the full range of my internal like experience relating to the things so that I could take notes about my boundaries. That's crazy. But yeah, during the R&D at all, I was just kind of letting myself express as expressively as I want. So, you know, you got the most authentic first time on that score. But I did get squirrely. I deleted stuff. I took things down. I aggressively like changed the game and the structure on the people who were kind of like trying to follow and support whatever the fuck I was up to. Because I was clearly up to something. Like I was trying to come in as transparently and authentically as possible, and it was awkward too. There were some really uncomfortable moments because of that. And I just and like when I was looking around at other models and other mostly women, but other people that were online creating, I noticed that they were doing the same thing, and so it was really cool that you could just get that deeply immersed with people, and it was them. It was like them doing them things, and like yeah, there were trends and stuff that clearly works. So why would you not do it or use it? But it was also cool to see the unique like individual creators being just so very much themselves in a way that felt liberating, and I hadn't seen anywhere else. So that was really cool. I loved that. I even made like a separate just normal user account so that I could hang out in other models rooms and just like pay them and be a normal consumer of the media that I was attempting to create. Which is so funny. There's so much that I like jump in as a creator. I've never been a consumer in my life. Have I ever watched or been a YouTuber? Absolutely not. Like as a consumer, I have used YouTube at the furthest extremity of like need, right? Like if I really have to watch a YouTube to tell me how to do something, I will, but I will read manuals first. I will ask friends. I will do anything else before watching YouTube. And it's not even a conscious decision. It's just like in the course of my online life, which began at age 11 and I have not been offline since I was 11 for more than a day or two. And that's like, backpacking in the Rockies or something. But for that entire time, when video content started becoming very popular and YouTube really started going off, I looked at what everybody was doing and how they were using it, and I'm like, that's a cool concept, but I'm not gonna do it right now, and I'd rather be reading, so I'm gonna go do that. And then I did. And that's really, like, my saving grace has been the fact that I would more often than not rather be reading a book. And that is a very long format version of taking in information and imagining something. It's very immersive. It's much like gaming. I think books and gaming are so similar that I literally couldn't ruin my life for gaming because there was too many books. My gaming extends to having had a couple Game Boys. I played the Nintendo 64 at daycare. And, just occasional. I once pressured my mom to buy me an Xbox because I was dating a gamer and I really just wanted to get on this level. And I tried playing Fable for that evening. It gave me the worst headache, and it was day 3. But I hated it. And I was like, this is like, I'm doing, and I think what I really hated was that I was doing it for him, right? At the time, that was not as evident. But I didn't want to do it. And I've tried it since getting into games. But every time I'm like, am I doing this for me? Or am I doing this because I don't want to be let out of the whole, like, what everybody else is doing? And every time it's not for me. So at this point, I'm just like, next time I see a game, and it's just like an obvious observation.
That was even true.
So people, anyway, so when combating biased algorithms, just as an individual human being, the big thing that I'm always trying to do is mentally code each of my motions or movements or decision makings, like anything that is a if-then statement, a logical yes-no if-then, which is how computers work, right? Everything's if-then. And I'm always thinking of my high school history teacher who taught me to frame my thesis or my theories as if-then statements, like if this, then that. But everything computer-wise is an if-then statement. So every time I'm doing a move, like I just added the soundgasm to my alts link tree, it has to have a biocode that goes with it. And the biocode is some dusting of true, authentic me experience that has, care, passion, interest, personal investment involved. So, for example, all of the different thumbnails being used in this link tree there's a story behind each one, they have meaning, they have symbolism, they have significance, and people are just going to do that anyway because the entire point of being online is to like be online, right? They want to put themselves online. They want to do the TikToks, they want to be famous, they want to have that social engagement at that level. It is a brand new level of sociability. We talk about how an individual's capacity for social bonds is roughly 150, but online, I'm pretty sure it can double. I know this from my own experience. So, I might have 150 social bonds in the community, but I have 300 online, and that's not insane. I think that's just normal, and so that's the new ratio, and everyone is attempting in their own way to adapt to the new social ratio, structure, rules, framework of a half digital, half physical world. And I'm being light with the halves because I think that for many people it's a full digital, partial social, or partial physical world. And so people are living in these biased online environments and getting all of their information from that. And I'm not here to doom and gloom people because they get enough of that elsewhere. I'm actually here to just affirm that this is reality, but then also let you know that we can be socially creative and very quickly and very rapidly change whether or not it's impacting us negatively or whether or not we're getting a positive feed off of what's going on. So yeah, let's, I guess, find a thumbnail for the soundgasm. That feels like the move, right? And I gotta eat some. Here we go. Oh. That was good. I'm glad. I'm actually gonna start a Warhammer workspace today for Wednesday lovers. I failed. And we are at 109, so this is a perfect time to shut up. Yeah, I don't have anything to add. She left me the space just in case I had something to say, but I know.
Is that my fucking toothbrush?